Gas prices have dropped and soared over the last couple of months, and consumers are tired and struggling to pick up the bill. There's a couple of different reasons for this, and the first is living in a supposed post-pandemic world. When the first lockdowns went in place in 2020, there was a steep drop in people driving, but since then, mandates have been lifted and gas prices have risen with this change. But more significantly, the pandemic caused a large cut in demand for oil, so many oil-producing nations like Russia also slashed their production, which didn't start ramping up again until the economy was steadying. But just a little while later, the sanctions were put on Russia because of their heinous acts against Ukraine. And even though the U.S. only imports about 8% of its gas from Russia, other countries receive oil from this country, so it caused a larger global market disruption. And this affects so many people in the United States, as the majority of adults own their own personal vehicle and drive it frequently. It also affects people with long commutes and those who drive for a living, but most significantly, those who make a low income, as gas is already a big part of that. Our group decided to use a data set that is updated weekly of all of the gas prices across the U.S. And they find these gas prices by calling different retail stores and asking what the price is that day. We used information specifically from the Midwest, as that's where we're from. Using this data, we are proposing an app that tracks individual consumers' driving habits to calculate a budget for their gas spending. When the user enters the car, the app will be alerted to driving from a Bluetooth connection and will record the distance the user drives, and after completing the drive, the user will be asked to classify their drive into categories that they created, essentially falling into essential and non-essential. This will be added to both a master log of all drives as well as add itself to an average that is calculated weekly so that the user can see how much money they are spending every week and whether they were on essential or non-essential drives. Once the user has created a budget, it will notify them when they go over budget, as they will also be inputting information about how much they spend every time they hit the pump. This app will have a lot of benefits for its users, who are people who drive every day and are struggling to maintain a gas budget within their spending. It will monitor driving routines and expenditures. It will give people advice on adjusting driving frequencies, as well as offering resources from outside agencies about further financial literacy, education, and assistance. Overall, we hope this app will alleviate some stress that comes with budgeting with gas in mind, and will potentially help new drivers who have never had to budget gas into their spending before.